How's it going? How's it going? Welcome to another video. Today I wanted to talk about a new MMORPG that I recently got the test for, which was CorePunk. It is a top-down MMORPG that is very similar to Diablo or Lost Ark, and has the art style of League of Legends. So I wanted to make this video about my criticisms of the alpha, as well as how I think it's going to shape up in the future, and do I think it's going to be worth trying again in the future. Also, something I want to mention is that these playtests exist for two reasons. Number one, bug fixes. Number two, it allows the devs to get an outside perspective of their game, because a lot of these devs, when they're working on the game and playtesting the game themselves, they'll have a sort of biased opinion of their own game. What do I mean by that? Well, when they're testing their game, they already know how everything operates, they've made these quests themselves, they've made the gameplay themselves, so they know exactly where to look, and they know how to do everything in their game straight out the gate usually. So these playtests allow for them to get that outside perspective. So if they make something that is bad or inconvenient, the community can let them know, hey, change this because it's bad and inconvenient. So with that out of the way, we can go ahead and get into the criticisms. So number one, the healing capabilities in the game were pretty lackluster. There were a lot of times where I would experience combat, and because you have 0 health regeneration in the game, outside of using food items or sitting at a campfire, you would get into one fight, and then have to either offload a bunch of food items, or you would have to run to the nearest campfire, which is usually in a town. And it was extremely tedious. That's something I hope they work on, is either make food regenerate more, faster, or longer, because it was doing about 0.5 health regeneration for 10 seconds total, which was absolutely not enough to get back to full health and then get into another fight, which would knock you down to anywhere from like 50% to 20%, especially if you're a melee class. And then number two, quest indication. This was something that I personally struggled with a lot, and a lot of people in the chat as well struggled with. Let me set the scene. You would pick up a quest, and it would tell you to go to point A. However, it would give you no indication of where point A is at, nor how to get there. So, for example, the first NPC you meet was a goblin in a mech suit that tells you to go to his house and pick up a registration form to become a citizen on their planet. The only indication he gives you is that his house is north, and that is exactly what the quest indication says as well. It just tells you to go north and find the registration sheet. So you would travel north, but on the way north there are multiple houses. And there is no highlight of the registration form. You kind of just find it sitting on a table outside the house, which is also kind of weird. And by the time I found it, it had already been maybe 5 minutes had passed, and I was scratching my head, so I decided to backtrack and look through every nook and cranny I could. So I think that they need to work on their quest indication and their navigation. And then, kind of in tandem with this, was map accuracy. What I mean by that is, there's a town called Goldenfield, which the name for it on the map was not where the actual town was. So there's a giant wheat field that surrounds the town, and it had Goldenfield town in the wheat field. But to the very far left of it was the actual town, which was kind of confusing, because if you don't have the town scene, it's covered by that fog of war on the world map. So you would see Goldenfield town, but it's just nothing is there. And then you'd be sitting there like, Where are all the houses? What's going on? I think that's just an oversight. They're probably gonna fix that later. Number 4, item placement. This also was very similar to the quest indication and navigation issues that I talked about. You would be told to acquire an item. For example, wheat seeds. But again, the game would not tell you where these items are. You would simply have to find them. And so for the wheat seeds, I thought that you just simply go to the wheat fields and you could probably scavenge them from some of the wheat there. No, I was completely wrong. You actually find them in the treasure chests that are scattered around the map, some of which are not even near the wheat fields. So that was kind of a head scratcher for me, and that's something that I hope they fix as well. Instead of putting things like wheat seeds in treasure chests that are scattered complete opposite sides of the map from where you would think they would be, maybe just like make a wheat crop and have it spawn wheat seeds upon defeating it. I think that would just be a really easy fix and also make the most sense. And finally, number 5 was the tediousness of combat. This kind of goes hand in hand with the healing capabilities of the game, and I think once they fix healing, the tediousness of combat aspect will also be solved. However, the combat is very slow. You could be sitting in a fight with a level 1 or 2 creature, same level as you, for in upwards of 5 minutes, and you would not level up from that for a while. It took so long to level up in this game, and fighting did not seem very interactive. It did not seem very fun. Most of it was spent running away rather than doing damage because of how the healing regeneration was, and then also you're typically fighting these enemies in mobs, which is going to take a really big toll on your health. So I'm kind of hoping that they either up your damage or lessen the enemy's HP, just to make it more interactive, more fun for the player. Because, let's be honest, nobody wants to sit in a low-level area for tens of hours, grinding levels, having to run back and forth between campfires for 5 minutes just to heal. It's just something they should work on. And this is where I get into the things I liked about the game. I thought the classes were cool. Some of the classes were locked, which was fine because they're probably not done yet, and they're also probably just saving those for full release. Customization was okay. It wasn't incredible, it wasn't bad, it was fine. I'm sure there's going to be more customization down the road as well. The art style is cool, very colorful. The world seemed pretty unique, very post-apocalyptic, but with high fantasy aspects, like with goblin races and all kinds of other stuff. It was pretty neat. It reminded me a lot of the Free Realms MMORPG back in the day, and also RuneScape. It was pretty nice. And so finally, do I have high hopes for this game on release? Well, if they address everything that I had issues with that I think are going to really impact the game's barrier to entry, then yes. But if the game comes out and it still has these issues, I don't see it lasting very long. Especially because the MMO space is very saturated at the moment. A lot of MMOs, such as New World, Lost Ark, Blue Protocol, these new MMOs that come out, they kind of just do the same thing as old MMOs that doesn't really work anymore in the year 2024. So a lot of those mechanics that they have in CorePunk might not resonate with them. So in order for CorePunk to be super successful, I think it needs to kind of create some sort of unique aspect specifically for itself, some sort of unique identity that sets it apart from other MMOs. And right now, the only real unique aspect it seems to have is really the setting, I think. Right now, I give it a big maybe. We'll have to see how it shapes up, and I'll probably give it another try on official release, or if they do another test in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to like and subscribe. Have a good one.